Welcome back to the Jeffersonian, the podcast where I, Thomas Jefferson, invite the world's most influential thinkers to debate questionable topics. Please welcome Benjamin Franklin.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to providing my input on these highly debatable questions.
To start off, we will be talking about the role of religion in society. So, Ben, what is your opinion on this topic?
That is an interesting question. I believe that it does not matter what God you believe in, but rather how your religious faith, contributes to the better and kinder society. In other words, if your religion beneficially affects society, then sure, I don't see why anyone would have a problem with it. Secondly, the separation of church and state is vital to the functioning of society and government, especially in the United States.
I completely agree. In order to have a functioning society, there must be a religious freedom and separation of church and state. For example, our country wouldn't function without religious freedom, as there is so much diversity in our country, which makes us stronger as a nation. On to the next topic. What do you think is the proper role of government?
I believe that the United States is best with a strong national government guiding it forward, and that the government is responsible for protecting the rights of man to life, liberty, and property.
I too believe that the government should protect the rights of its citizens, but I happen to disagree with one of your accounts. I think that there should be a weak federal government and a stronger state and local government. Can you explain why you believe the federal government should be stronger than the state and local governments?
Well, a strong centralized government is more effective in governing the nation than a separate state governments. They are unorganized, and that is why I believe a national government is stronger than the state government. But why do you believe that the state governments should be stronger than the federal government?
Well, I believe that the state and local government need more power in government because these governments are closely related to the people and their wishes. This means that these two levels of government work more tightly with the citizens of the country, and that is why I believe they should have more power.
Let's agree to disagree.
Okay, next question. What are your views on the roles and rights of a monarch?
I believe a monarch is an ineffective and unjust form of government. When a monarch has absolute power, that power tends to cause the ruler to make rash and unwise decisions, which are not great for the ruler or the good of the rest of the nation in which they govern. A republic is a better system to govern because it spreads the power between representatives, and the power is derived from the consent of the people.
I too agree with your opinion. First off, monarchies have no place in a successful government. At the minimum, it should be at least a constitutional monarchy. Any successful government needs input and help from the people, and a monarchy doesn't fill that criteria. Well, with that being said, I do believe a monarchy's only role should be ceremonial, and they shouldn't have the right to make decisions for a whole nation. On to the next topic. What are your views on economics?
Interesting. I believe that taxation is necessary, but it is only fair if the people are represented in government. Taxation without representation is unfair. I also believe that the values of goods are given by the labor put into producing those goods.
I happen to disagree with you. I think taxation isn't relevant and does not help the citizens. While some taxes are needed, most are not. The federal government needs to step down and let the state and local governments deal with the economy. So, what are your views on slavery?
Well, I used to own 2 slaves, and I believe that slavery is an unjust evil that needs to be eliminated. I have actually freed my 2 slaves, and I believe that the forced servitude of others for economic gain is immoral. Furthermore, the practice of separating the families, which is a common practice in slavery, is unfair and outright evil.
I 100% agree. I too think that slavery corrupts both the slave and the master alike. It is immoral and goes against what most of our society preaches about brotherly love and peace. Slaves are equal and aren't below whites because of skin color. What is your view on laws that govern society and who should create them?
Well, I believe that the representatives chosen by the people should make the laws. This should be a national level issue, and the states would be responsible for choosing the representatives. The representatives should create the laws that benefit the people and do so in a civilized manner.
I slightly agree with you on this topic. I too believe that the laws that govern society should be chosen by the people they apply to. But, as you said, you believe that this should be done federally. I do not agree with you. The state and the local regions should be deciding the laws for their area of jurisdiction rather than listening to laws made by representatives from other states as well. Okay, what is your ideal structure of a healthy society?
It is my firm belief that the ideal society is one where all people work to better the economy, government, and world. Through work and service to a government for the people, by the people, which shall change and improve for the betterment of all.
I too believe that an ideal society encompasses citizens who contribute to society as a whole. If everyone contributes, then society will improve for everyone. Another factor of an ideal society is where all are treated equally and there isn't discrimination. And that is another reason that there will never be an ideal society.
Well said.
Okay. Here's an interesting question. What is a quote that you live by?
Well, something I say all the time, and my personal favorite quote, is, "Wish not so much to live long as to live well." I choose to live a happy short life rather than a long life filled with misery. A life well lived is more important than any material possession.
That was beautiful. Mine is, if you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done. This quote is saying that you have to work hard and make changes to get something that you truly want. And I believe change is necessary for success, so that is another reason I live by this quote. On to the next question. Do you believe we should have capital punishment?
Well, I believe that capital punishment is not something that's necessary to justice. Imprisonment of the guilty is a fair punishment by which we shall use for our nation. To take a life of another for the mistakes in this world is not ethical.
I happen to disagree with your opinion. I believe that capital punishment is the best option for those convicted of heinous murder and treason. These are two offenses that are incredibly severe, and that is why I believe those crimes should institute the death penalty. Well, what are your opinions on the right of if people should be able to revolt against the government?
Well, I believe that rebellion is how we got to the point we are, and I believe that against tyranny it is necessary, but only as a last resort. If the government steps over and abuses its power, other measures might need to be taken before rebellion. I look at Shays' rebellion as distasteful. Other methods could have been used to achieve the desired result. Rebellion was unnecessary in this example.
I too believe that a rebellion for a good cause is necessary in a society. Rebellions send a message that change is needed, and that can cause the government to make changes where they are needed. Rebellion is another way citizens can take action and cause change in government. And that is why I absolutely believe that rebellions are a good thing in moderation. What do you think about people dying and fighting in wars over religion?
I believe that fighting for freedom to believe in your religion is noble. But fighting to oppress others because of your religion is an unjust cause. Everyone should have the right to their beliefs. And if it contributes to a better society, then I strongly believe in letting them.
I too agree with what you said. The fight for religious freedom is incredibly important, and is a probable cause to fight for a war for. But if the war is just between two religions, just cause, then I believe that is not okay. Next question: what do you believe is the role of women in society?
Well, I believe that women are intelligent, beautiful beings and deserve a certain amount of respect. Many of my friends are female and they are great companions for me. I don't see why some men see to it to treat women badly.
I myself see the role of women in society as more traditional, although I still think that women contribute a lot to society and play a vital role of how society works. What should the relationship between the governed and the government be?
I believe that in a free government, the people are superior to the government. And what I mean by this is the government derives its power from the people. All the government's actions come from the will of the people, and without it, the government has no power.
Well said. I believe that the citizens should have a direct relationship with the government. The government is representing the citizens, so I personally do not see why they shouldn't have a strong connection. I also believe that the connection should be focused more locally by states and cities rather than nationally, as state and city officials will focus more on the well-being of the people they represent in that area. All right, moving on. Do you believe government is a bad thing? And do you think it is necessary in a society?
Well, I do think it is necessary, and I do think it's a good thing. I believe that government is a simple way of organizing the civilized to do extraordinary action. Government is necessary in order to maintain the order and improve the lives of others. Without government, it would be easy for a few bad people to drive us all into anarchy.
I too believe that government is necessary and that it is needed to help maintain order in a society. But I do not think that the government should be too strong, as many citizens would be silenced and cut out from society. So, I do believe that the government is a good thing, but in moderation. What do you think is the proper punishment for criminals?
Yes. Well, I believe the punishment for criminals should fit the committed crime. An eye for an eye is not justice, and punishment for the sake of prevention of further crimes is the main focus.
Well, I too do believe that criminals deserve to be punished properly, but I believe in a more eye-to-eye punishment. I believe that the same pain or crime that someone commits on another should be done to that person. Treat others as you want to be treated is all I can say. What rights do you believe the people should have?
I strongly believe that the right of freedom of speech, religion, press, and assembly are necessary to a free society and the protection of all people. If these rights are not incorporated into the government, the oppression of others by the government is easier to obtain.
I too believe that the people should have the rights of free speech, free religion, free press, and assembly. These rights are vital to have a peaceful and fair society. If these rights aren't given, then there is a corrupt power at work and action must be taken. How would you define human nature?
Well, I believe that it's human nature for people to be biased. We all have interests or assumptions made that could be false. We all want more, and we all want to know what we can't. We are curious and sometimes very ignorant.
Well said. I don't think humans really have a nature, so to say. I think that people have a choice to choose what they want to do with themselves, and they can choose how they want to make that happen. So, what are your religious views?
I believe in a single God that created the universe. I believe that there were things we were taught by God or his followers, and these should influence our values that we live by. And I think each person should be driven by their values, whether that comes from their faith or somewhere else.
I myself believe in Christianity and have used my religion to base some of my beliefs on. Although I believe in Christianity, I do not believe in everything that is in the Bible. One of the things that I have rejected from Christianity and do not believe in is that Jesus was the promised Messiah and the incarnated Son of God. Do you think religion should influence laws?
Well, I think that our values we learn from our faith may influence our laws, but the separation between church and state is very important. The church cannot be the government.
While I believe in religion and that it is an important part of everyday life, like I said earlier, the separation of church and state is vital to maintaining a good society. This includes the laws the government writes and enforces. If the laws are based on one man's religion, the law will not apply to another man's religion, and this can cause an imbalance in stability. For the final question, who do you think gets to rule a society, and do you think anyone can do it?
I believe that a republic is the best way to govern. It gives the power to the people, and I strongly believe that no one person can rule a nation effectively.
I too believe that the people who run a society are the people themselves. Government is only a way to maintain order, but the order they maintain should be based on the views of the common folk. With that being said, I think that if someone puts in the work and is ready to make sacrifices for the greater good, then yes, anyone can theoretically run a society. Well, Ben, I think that is all the time we have. Thank you so much, and I had a great time discussing these topics with you.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Tune in next week to the Jeffersonian, where I invite Thomas Hobbes onto the show to discuss more influential topics.